So if you have any premium bonds, the bad news is that the prize rate is going to fall. From the March 2024 draw, the prize rate is going to fall from 4.65% to 4.4%. This is obviously bad news for your money. If you are going to win money, you're likely to win less. But as you know, if you've watched these videos before, it's not always that clear and simple when it comes to premium bonds. Before, it's a good opportunity to just take you through exactly what's happened and give you an indication of how those different prizes are being split, and what's happening to the odds, but also maybe talk about what this might mean for other easy access style savings accounts in the coming months. Because the big reason this draw, the premium bonds prize rate has fallen, or is going to fall, is because there is that big anticipation, that expectation even, that the Bank of England will be cutting the interest rate, the base rate of interest, as early as April. And then a number of more cuts to follow throughout this year, which could see us, again, these predictions are changing all the time, but they could well see by the end of 2024 us below 4%. And that's with the rate we are now, 5.25%, that is a big, big, big drop. And much, just a few months ago, this is much faster than any of those kind of expectations were of what kind of drops would happen and how fast they would be. So certainly, National Savings and Investments who run premium bonds, again, they're part of a government, effectively, bank, if you like, not quite like that, but that's the easiest way to think about it. They are kind of going, right, well, rates are going to fall. We've got a lot of money. They've got a huge amount of money already in premium bonds that we don't need to be offering a really competitive rate anymore. We can reduce what we get. And if we lose some people, it doesn't matter because we've got enough money already that we need for the funding requirements that the government has set out. So let's talk about the actual prize rate change itself, first of all. Now, as I say, this fall is going to happen from the March draw, March 2024. That means we've got one more draw before that, still at 4.65%. So the draw that's taking place at the beginning of February isn't going to be at the current rate. It will be the one after that where the prize rate does fall. Now, this means any money that you put in January, in this current month, the first draw it's going to be eligible for is that March draw. So effectively, any new money you put into premium bonds right now, you are looking at 4.4%, at least for that first prize drawing. It could well fall again. There could be further cuts this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the premium bonds do fall again as the year goes on. Any money you put in prior to the 1st of January 2024, then that will still be at that 4.65% prize rate for the February draw. Okay, so just so you're aware of what's happening there. Now, this drop, doesn't mean your odds are going to change. Sometimes when a premium buys prize rate draw, guys, a bit of a mouthful, that isn't it? Premium bonds price rate draw rate changes. The odds change as well, but this time they won't. They're going to remain at 21,000 to 1, which basically means you've got a 1 in 21,000 chance of winning a prize. Every single bond you have, I should say, not you, because you're obviously going to have more than that, because the minimum number of bonds you can have is 25, and obviously you may have up to 50,000 bonds, each one being worth £1. So between 25 quid and £50,000 in premium bonds. The reason that the odds stay the same but the rate drops is there are going to be the actual prize fund is going to be reduced slightly, so how much you can win is going to reduce, and the number of prizes, there are going to be fewer of those as well. So they're actually going to be exactly what's happened here. So there's going to be roughly 72,000 fewer prizes. So that's 5.77 million prizes each draw, rather than the one that's happening in February. Roughly, these do vary. There's never exact science on this because money comes in and out, but 5.84 million prizes. So, okay, not in the scheme of things, not a massive amount, but still 72,000 fewer prizes. And I said the other thing that's going to change is the prize fund. That's going to drop by £31 million. That is a much, much, much larger decrease. Estimated total prize fund will be £444 million. Now, for those of you who are watching the podcast over on YouTube, I'm going to bring up a table here which sort of details the different prize breakdown for how many of each of the different prize levels are out there. But if you're listening to this over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it might be, don't worry, I will link in the show notes to the article with this table so you can read all about it. So let's have a look. And this sort of shows you the breakdown of how those prizes are being split up. And what you can see here, or I'll tell you about if you're listening to this, is there are still two £1 million prizes. So again, very, very unlikely you're going to win this, but if you do, your chances haven't changed there. Still two of them available. But then as we go down to that next level, the other big, big prizes, £100,000, £50,000, £25,000, £10,000, they're all dropping as well. Not by huge amounts, but again, there aren't many of these anyway. So again, less likely to get one of the big, big prizes. And that's the same really all the way down. what the big difference is, where the big changes are, this is around the £100 prizes, the £50 prizes, and the £25 prizes. There are a reversal of what we've seen over the last year and a bit, where the premium point prize rate was increasing. When we suddenly saw less £25 prizes, it switched it around. And there are a number more of these £25 ones in the March draw. So about 1.4 million £25 prizes versus 1 million-ish in the draw for January. So again, more, if you are going to win, much more likely you'll win 25 quid than anything else. And there's about 250,000 drop in the in the 50 and 100 pound prize as well. So that's a big chunk of where there's fewer prizes, and also there's a much fewer prizes, particularly on anything other than 25 quid, which has increased. So again, if you still same chance of winning as you would have seen over the last sort of couple of draws since, when was the last change? Late last year, was it? So it's been a while. We've been at 4.65%, but you're more likely to win 25 quid. So what does this mean for your money if you have premium bonds? Should you be moving your cash out of premium bonds elsewhere? Well, most of you, yes, that's absolutely what you should be doing, because what you've got to remember with premium bonds is that prize rate is not a guaranteed rate. You are very unlikely to be getting anywhere close to that unless you have the full amount in there, that full kind of £50,000 saved. And even then, as I showed in a video and article that I produced last year, where I spoke to 2 people with 50 grand in premium bonds, their savings return over 6 months, that can vary massively, wildly different. One of them was doing really well, one of them was not doing well at all. So again, there is no guarantee with premium bonds that you will get anything at all, let alone close to that prize rate. You'll be much better off, for the most part, putting your money in a different savings account where the return is guaranteed. You know what you're going to get if your money is in that account. And again, becloveryourcash.com/savings, where myself and the team are updating every single day with the best possible rates, is the place to go to see what's available right now. But if you have a lump sum, you can come and get 5.22% in easy access savings, 5.5% in a 1-year fix if you don't need to access the money. There are regular savers paying 7 or 8% for money for small amounts you're saving all the time. Much higher rates that you're going to be getting, unless you're one of the very few to get a big prize on premium bonds. Most people, you're better off using those different accounts. There are, however, some exceptions, and the big exception here is basically those of you who will be paying tax on your interest. Most of you don't do this. Most of you will be fine with your personal savings allowance of £1,000 a year for a basic rate taxpayer, £500 for a high rate taxpayer. Plus, on top of that, your £20,000 annual ISA allowance of how much money you can put in, any interest you earn on that is tax-free. So for most people, you're going to be absolutely fine in tax-free savings over there. But for the handful of people who are already maxing out their personal savings allowance, or don't get it at all because they're an additional rate taxpayer, and they've already maxed out their ISA accounts, or maybe they're trying to use their ISAs instead for an investment. Again, you still got 20 grand you could put in there, plus the money you're earning on your savings. It's those people where premium bonds then come into play, when they're actually quite a useful thing, because any prizes you get are tax-free. So particularly if you're, say, additional rate taxpayer with that 45% rate, then premium bonds can be really good place for you to go. But I still would prioritize your ISA allowance first of all. There is obviously a third section there, the people who are like, I want to have some money in there just to see how I do. And yeah, why not give it a go? But again, if you don't have a large amount in there, just remember your chances of winning are relatively low. Very quickly though, what I want to talk about as well in this part of the podcast as well is what this might say, what this might indicate in terms of how savings rates are going to change in the coming months. Now, the reason that ns&i have made this cut isn't just because they don't need more money. They've got plenty in there already, as we said, from the government targets, and loads of people put cash in there. So they've got loads, so they can afford for some of it to go. But they're also, the reason they can afford for some of it to go is because they know, well, I don't know, no one knows for certain, but they anticipate, like everyone else, that we are going to see those base rate cuts this year. So this one, I wouldn't be surprised again if we see more ns&i premium bond rate cuts this year that bring the premium bond price rate down even further. It's worth noting, incidentally though, we are still at the second highest rate we've seen in a long time on premium bonds. It's still better than they were a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. But there will be more of those. But obviously, that is the same for other savings providers. And it could well be that this ns&i premium bond cut is almost the starting gun where those easy access providers, and yes, I know premium bonds aren't easy access savings, but the closest thing we can compare them to, where we'll start to see some of those top table, those leading providers follow suit as well, and start to see those rates start to come down over the coming weeks and months. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bit longer, that some of them wait for an actual rate cut to come along before they do that. But we have already seen, again, this isn't a top table topping account, but Virgin Money have already emailed customers saying that their M Plus saver, which is linked to their current accounts, which was for a while, I think it was only paying 2.02%, but it was the best account you could get for your savings. They are going to be cutting their rate down from something like 3.5% to 2.5% from a few months' time. Again, if you've got your money in that account, it's worth moving it anyway because it's a low-paying account. But again, it's a good indicator that we're seeing a few big providers saying, right, we can and we will start to reduce those easy access accounts. So that might be a sign to you to go, if you can lock your money away. I know I've been saying this for a long time now, but if you can lock your money away, I know we have already seen a big drops in the rates on fixed rate savings accounts. It might be worth having a look and locking money away that you can afford to lock away at those higher rates, because it won't be long before even the easy access accounts are lower, the fixes are lower, everything's lower, and you won't be getting such a good return on your savings. Still very good compared to what we've been used to, but not as good as what we've been lucky to receive over the last year and a bit. Quick headlines up of what's going to come up in the deals of the week. We're going to get to at the end of this episode. There is a £25 bonus on some fixed rate savings accounts that I'll share with you, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Now, if you are watching the podcast here on YouTube, then make sure you hit one of these two links here to watch either the first part you might already have missed, where I talk about a new switching offer from TSB, or the third part where I talk about cinema membership deals and all those deals of the week.